Hello guys, and welcome back to another video on Assetto Corsa Competizione on the PlayStation 5, and we've got the big 1.9 update to have a look at. Not only do we have the free update, but there is also a new DLC pack available, which is the 2023 GT World Challenge pack. And that includes the Ferrari 296 GT3, the Porsche 911, the 992 version GT3R, the Lamborghini Huracan Evo 2, and a new circuit, which is Valencia. So that's available for £9.99 on the PlayStation Store, but we'll cover that in another video. Today, I'm going to have a look at what we get for free in the 1.9 update. So it's really exciting to be getting this update on console, as it was only released a few months ago for the PC version. So the updates are coming quicker and quicker to console all the time. The number of users is increasing week by week as well. So the game's in a really good place now on console. With the 1.9 update, we do get a new car. We get the new Mclaren 720S Evo. We also get an update to the Mercedes GT3 Evo as well. So the Mercedes isn't a new car, but we do have an update to that car that makes it feel a little bit different. We'll have a look at both of those in just a moment. But first of all, we're going to discuss the new physics and tyre models. So there's been a big overhaul with the physics, and a lot of stuff has changed. So we've got changes to the tyres, the suspension, dampers, bump stops, and all of this is going to make quite a big difference to how the car feels on track. So first of all, with the new tyres, the tyre pressure range has now been changed. So the optimal pressure range used to be somewhere 27.5 to 28, something like that, but now we're going to be working from 26 to 27 psi. So that is a whole psi of range you can work in, and you can use this to adjust the pressures depending on what you want to achieve with the handling. So for example, you can go a little bit lower towards 26 if you want a bit more mechanical grip and maybe a bit more traction, where if you were to go more towards 27, you'd have less rolling resistance, so potentially greater top speed on the straights. As a general rule, I would probably go more towards 26 on slow speed circuits, and then more towards 27 on higher speed circuits with long straights and faster corners. We also have a large working temperature range, which is 70 to 100 degrees Celsius. Now the changes to the suspension, dampers and bump stops essentially mean that the cars now handle much better over the curbs. They don't feel quite so stiff, and there's less chance of you being spun off by taking too much curb. It should also help to stop some of the excessive negative toe setups that we've been seeing with the 1.8 version. Setup changes should now represent what they would do in the real world a little bit more. So for example, going too extreme on some of the toe settings or camber settings would contribute to higher tyre temperatures and higher wear, which should mean that setups are a bit less esports like, where you take advantage of certain aspects of the game, and should represent what engineers would do in the real world a little bit more. So as you can see on the screen now, the first car I tried out was the new Mclaren, and this car feels very, very planted in the high speed corners. It's got great aero. It can feel a little bit awkward in some of the low speed stuff, and it does bog down a little bit when in first gear, particularly through the bus stop chicane here at Spa. But overall, it's a very, very nice handling car. I never really spent an awful lot of time in the previous Mclaren, so I'm probably not the best person to be comparing the two, but I am very, very pleased with how this one feels. It does feel very planted. Like I said, great aero in the high speed corners, and I think there's definitely a lot of lap time to be found in this car. Next up, I jumped into the Mercedes. Now, like I said, this is the same car we had previously, but it has been updated, so should feel a little bit different. This also gave me a good chance to really get to grips with the new physics and tyre model, because it's a car that I am a little bit more familiar with. And to be honest, I really do like how the new physics feel. The best way of describing it is, if we were to compare to version 1.8, you had to drive the car kind of on rails all the time, and if you had any sliding at all, you would instantly lose a lot of lap time. With this new update, it almost feels like the track is a bit greasier. You can feel the car moving around more than it would previously, but that's not always detrimental to lap time. So you can really wrestle and dance the car, and you know, it allows a bit more slip without compromising lap time, and I really like how it feels, to be honest. So in comparison to the previous version of this car, like I said, I spent quite a lot of time in it before the update, and the biggest issue I had, especially when here at Spa, is setting the car up so that it would be able to go through our Rouge and Radion flat. It was very difficult to get the setup and the balance right, so you could go flat through there and not risk the car bottoming out at all, or just becoming unstable with the rear of the car, and then also to be able to go flat through the right-hander before the back straight and blanchiment. Now with the default aggressive setup, I was able to do both of these, which are like kind of my key performance indicators for any car when I want to set it up at Spa. So flat through here is what I was saying just then, so you get a really good exit down the very long straight as we head to the bus stop chicane. You can definitely feel how the car likes to ride the curbs a little bit more as well, especially previously in this Mercedes. If you took a bit too much curb, sometimes that curb would drag you round quite a lot, and you could lose control. So definitely is more stable over the curbs now, and it's really nice. It just feels quite good to drive. Now unfortunately there are some pretty major bugs that have been introduced to the game. These include the one you're about to see now, where the track just loses absolutely all of its grip. It's like driving on ice, and if you're mid-corner when it happens, you're just going off. There's also a glitch where the top speed gets a bit bugged, and suddenly the car will just be on the rev limiter in the highest gear, hitting well over 300 kilometers an hour. There's also a couple of bugs where there's instantaneous punctures, and yeah, just essentially the car ends up out of control. Now whilst these bugs are very frustrating, the developers are fully aware of them, and they are working on a patch for them as we speak. So we haven't got a date on that just yet, but I'm confident that it will be out pretty soon. Now unfortunately we also don't have any special events available. This is something that I would really like to see in the game, because I enjoy doing these special events. I like trying to get onto the leaderboard, and it's a bit disappointing that there's nothing there for us to have a go at, because I can't see how it's that difficult to implement. I also will give the competition server a go again at some point in the near future. Last time I tried it out, the CP rating still wasn't working, and to be honest that's probably what puts most people off of giving it a go, because it's kind of a bit pointless if you can't generate any CP rating. So I will test that out again soon. To be honest, I don't expect to have any changes on that just yet, unfortunately, but hopefully we will get that solved in the future. So like I said, I will cover the new DLC in a future video, but until then I hope you've enjoyed this one. Let me know in the comments how you've been finding the latest update. What do you think about the new physics? Do you think they are an improvement, or do you prefer the previous version? And also let me know if there's any bugs you've experienced that I haven't already covered in this video.